Dude, horrifying.
Since the year 2010, I have loved three things consistently: Star Wars, horror movies, and Red Dead Redemption. I'll never forget when the first Red Dead Redemption came out. It blew my freaking mind. Getting to graze the open world with your own horse, being a gunslinger, was one of the coolest things you could do. And then later in 2010, they released one of the coolest DLCs of all time, Undead Nightmare. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you might know that I'm a big fan of Undead Nightmare. In fact, I interviewed Rob Weedoff on this channel back last November about that DLC. If you haven't seen that, go check out that video. After this one, the link will be in the description. But Red Dead Redemption has been one of my favorite things, one of my favorite pastimes since it came out. But in 2018, the greatest video game of all time came out. That's right, Red Dead Redemption 2. I'll never forget when the first trailer dropped in 2016. Or when the game got postponed in 2017. And then finally it came to our hands, October 26, 2018. Coincidentally, October 26 back in 1881 was also another famous date. That was also the day that Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, and the Earp brothers went and shot down some cowboys at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona. You see, Tombstone is something that's so important in Western history. So much of the Western genre is influenced by Tombstone, including Red Dead Redemption, the video game series. So Tombstone and Red Dead have been intertwined together for a long time. Now there's something that you might not know, and that's whenever I had this conversation with Rob Weedoff, he threw a little hint out to me. He said something was going on with Tombstone. He wouldn't say what, and he wouldn't say why. But whenever the announcement came in March, oh, I knew what was going on. The first ever Red Dead Redemption convention. Man, it had me written all over it. I was so excited. I was so excited that April, I decided to go on my own road trip to Tombstone. Got there that night, full of so much giddy and joy. But to my surprise, there was nowhere to eat. First I went to Big Nose Kate's Saloon, completely empty. All I was able to get there was a Coors Light. I crossed the street, I went to the Crystal Palace. Nothing there for me but another Coors Light. I also met this really nice drunken cowboy at the Crystal Palace, and he told me if I wanted food that I needed to go to the Doc Holliday Saloon. I eventually found my way down to Doc Holliday Saloon. And there I was greeted with the greatest shot of all time. That's right, Overholt whiskey. Doc Holliday's favorite whiskey. Now at this point, I had not eaten all day. And I had been drinking, well, quite a bit. So I started to get real tipsy. Started looking for my old pal Lenny. Lenny! Luckily for me, Doc Holliday Saloon had the best pizza of all time. A Tombstone pizza. Now you might be thinking, I'm talking about a fresh baked pizza named after the town Tombstone. Well, you'd be wrong. I'm talking about the frozen Tombstone pizza you can get from Walmart. But let me tell you, a frozen Tombstone pizza from Walmart slaps real hard when you're nice and drunk. I found my way walking around town drunk, thinking about all the fun that I would have in Tombstone that July. I walked around Tombstone taking in all its sights, all its glory. Seeing the OK Corral was so cool, lit up at night. My drunken self wandered around, enjoying everything there was to take in, and then I found myself back at my hotel, the Tombstone Motel. And there I somehow managed to fall asleep, set a timer, and get up for the next day. The next morning I stumbled my way out, still a little bit hungover, but I knew the perfect place to cure the hangover. The OK Cafe. The OK Cafe was perfect. Amazing food, a giant bison head in the middle of the restaurant. There I got some of the best food I've ever had. I don't even remember what it was, but I know it was good, and that's why you should go there if you ever go to Tombstone. Anyways, I had such a good time that I knew that I was going to enjoy it going back, and I brought all that information to my wife, and we planned our entire trip. Every month I got more excited waiting for Tombstone Redemption. I even brought back out the game, my second most played game of all time, The first being Star Wars Battlefront 2, the 2017 edition. But I brought out the game, I pulled it out of its case. Oh wait, it wasn't there. Where was the game? I looked everywhere for it. It was already in the console. I'd already been playing it, because it's one of the games that I keep going back to, because it's just so amazing to play. I'd wander around Blackwater as John Marston in the epilogue, just taking it all in, imagining what Blackwater could be here at Tombstone. Wondering what sights and sounds I'd see. Would I rob a bank? Would I rob a stagecoach? Would I take a stagecoach around Tombstone? Maybe. But that was yet to be seen. I had yet to figure out exactly what I was going to do when I got there. And as I waited with anticipation, it quickly came upon me, as the month of July did. This year is flying by the way. But in July, we loaded up our car and got ready for the road trip. We made it! We had finally gotten to Tombstone. It was set up in its glory, with beautiful banners declaring Tombstone Redemption. It was Friday afternoon, and though it wasn't as packed, everyone was so excited. Everywhere we went, it said Tombstone Redemption. There was tents set up, there was shooting ranges set up, there was axe throwing set up. It was such a sight to see. We made our way through the town, visiting each shop, talking to each shop owner. They'd be like, "You here for the big game?" It sounded like we were there for the Super Bowl. That's kind of how they treated Red Dead Redemption. A lot of them had no idea what Red Dead Redemption was. But they were happy about one thing. Money. That's right. They knew that Tombstone Redemption was going to bring a lot of money to the town. And it would. My wife and I were hungry after the long drive. So we made our way to Big Nose Kate's Saloon. See, last time I had been to Big Nose Kate's Saloon, they had shut down the kitchen and I had to get alcohol. This time I could finally try their food. Would it beat my Tombstone pizza I had at Doc Holiday's earlier in the year? Yes, it did. It was very good. We got elotes, we got brisket sandwiches, my wife got one of the best burgers of all time, and we really enjoyed our time. I will say, Big Nose Kate's was busy both days that I was there, which was super cool to see because it was completely dead last time I was there earlier in the year. After that, we just continued to walk around, enjoying all the sights and enjoying all the sounds. We even saw a Undead Nightmare poker tournament banners up, and I was like, boom, that's it. That's the one horror thing for my horror channel on YouTube. We made our way back to our cabin over at the RV Stampede Park, and we made our way to our room. We rested the rest of the night and prepared for the events of tomorrow. Later that evening, the man that put on the event, Kenny, would post on social media saying the first 500 people to go to the Blackwater Bank, aka the Tombstone Visitor Center, would get a goodie bag. This bag was super cool. It was a Wells Fargo stagecoach bag. We got Tombstone goodie bags full of awesome stuff, including a map to show our way around. It was at this point, though, that I knew from previous conventions how this was going to go, and it was going to be chaotic. Especially when we got in line and there was already 300 people in line before we got in line for this. 300 people were already in line and it wasn't even 9 a.m. So it became very clear to me it was going to be very freaking busy. First thing we did after we got our goodie bags was go straight to the Oriental Saloon and get right in line to go meet the actors. Because we knew, even though it opened at 11, it was going to be busy. And my God, it was. As we waited in line, I got really excited. I could not believe I was going to meet the entire gang. Of the people that were going were Rob Weedoff, Benjamin Byron Davis, Robert Bode, Jim Peary, Peter Blumquist, Alex McKenna, Kylie Vernoff, Gabriel Sloyer, Curzon Dobell, Steve J. Palmer, Mia Davis, Mick Mellumfee, Samantha Strelitz, Joe Armanox, and the two canceled guests were Roger Clark and Jim Santangeli. Luckily for me, I did get to meet Roger Clark back in 2021 at Horrifying, which takes place in Connecticut. This meant that meeting Rob Wiedoff and Robert Vogue would mean that I've met all 3 main protagonists for the first 3 games. As we got closer to going inside the Oriental Saloon, I got so excited. I had my poster by Ben Turdick ready to go. See, I got this poster online a couple months prior to the event. I knew that this was going to be the thing that I wanted to have signed by everyone. I brought a white paint pen for people to sign this poster with. But that would come to haunt me. First, we got into the Oriental Saloon, and the very first person we saw was Rob Wiedoff. Whenever we went up to him, it was so nice to see him, and he lit up when he realized who it was. Me, Jake Horrifying. We had a great conversation. He signed some of the stuff, and unfortunately, my Posca paint pen exploded on him. Now, I think that has to do with the pressure and the desert. Moving from San Diego all the way to Arizona, and the heat and everything kind of had to do with it. But he felt so bad, and I felt bad that he felt bad. But it ended up working out. It looks just fine. And it wasn't the first person that it exploded on. We had another paint pen explode on Peter Blomquist and another explode on Mick. But all of them turned out fine. All of it was okay. We talked with Rob. I got a Undead Nightmare signed picture, which came full circle. Had my poster signed. He was so excited to see that poster that I brought. That Ben Turdick piece of art was just so encapsulating. The whole cast loved it. When we went from person to person, they were like, wow, what is this? A lot of them hadn't seen it. I think most of them hadn't seen it. From Rob, we went to Curzon Dobell, who looks just like his character, Hosea Matthews. I think he's the only gang member that truly looks like the character in the game. So that kind of threw me off when I saw him. I was like, oh my god, that's actually Hosea. After Hosea, we met Robert Vogue. And though I've never admittedly played Red Dead Revolver, I know its significance. I know how important Red Harlow was. And I was so excited to meet him. And he was so happy to sign the poster. He's like, are you sure you want me to sign this? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. You are Red Harlow. You are the man himself. There's so many references to his character through the Red Dead Redemption games.
In life, it don't live up to the billing. And my brother, he's dead now, but he used to tell me stories about Red Harlow.
I would love to see them remake or remaster Red Dead Revolver and kind of connect all of them together. That would be so fun. From Robert, we went and met Mick, who was super nice. He sounds just like his character, Sean. After Mick, we met Peter Blomquist. Micah Bell himself. I was so excited. Peter Blomquist is, in my opinion, one of the best actors in Red Dead Redemption. He's up there with Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan. Think about how much you hate the character Micah Bell. That's because of Peter. And while I was talking to Peter Blomquist, my wife was talking to Alex McKenna, who plays Sadie Adler. Sadie's one of my wife's favorite characters, and they had a really good conversation. She says that they talked about the importance of Sadie to Alex and what it meant to play that character and how that was her favorite character she's gotten to play. I know that it made my wife super happy. It put a big smile on her face. While we were in there, though, I noticed that the temperature was hot. I was sweating so bad. I felt bad for all those actors because I was sweating all over them, and I know they were sweating too. Especially whenever I found out later that they stayed there 10 to 11 hours a day. I mean, it got hot in the Oriental Saloon. After Alex, we went and met Gabriel Sloyer, who was so incredibly nice. He loved being there. And that is just so contagious. Everyone there loved being there. But whenever you see an actor that's just so into it, it makes you more into it, you know? And he loved the poster. He was so excited to sign it. He took a picture of it. He posted on his Instagram story. I was so excited. I'm like, holy crap, it's Javier Escuela. And I ended up wearing his hat. He said, do you want to wear my hat? I was like, sure. I don't mind if I get head lice. Let's do it. Next, I met Jim Peary, who plays Angelo Bronto in the game. And though he's more of a villain role, I wanted to talk to him about a different villain role. I actually ended up asking him about playing Kraven the Hunter in the new Spider-Man 2 video game, because I am super excited to play that as well. He did talk quite a bit about it, but didn't give any spoilers, nothing like that. But he talked about how much fun it was, and he talked about how excited he was to show that game to people here in October. After Jen, we moved on to Jo, who was a sweetheart. She was super nice. Another person super excited to see the poster. She signed it. We got an awesome photo. Next to her was Sam. Sam was also really nice, living up to that Mary Beth character as one of the nicest people in camp. We met Mia Davis, who is one of my favorite characters. I love Tilly. I think Tilly's just an absolute sweetheart. And Mia Davis is also a sweetheart. We actually had an interaction with Mia on Sunday, which was super awesome because all the actors got to go walk around. And while we were sitting at a park bench, she walked by with her son. We were like, hi, how's it going? She's like, hey, how's it going? She's super sweet, super nice, very wholesome stuff right there. Next, we met Kylie Vernoff, who plays Miss Grimshaw in the game. Another one of my favorite characters in the game. I was devastated when she died. She was super sweet, had a long, extensive conversation with us. She wanted to get a picture with us, too. Like not like me get a picture on my phone, but she get a picture on her phone. I've never had that. That was really cool. She liked the poster as well. I mean, the poster was really a showstopper. I mean, that was the piece, you know. Not often you get to see a poster that cool. And that's all Ben Turdick. So if you're watching this and you want some cool artwork, go follow Ben Turdick on Instagram. I met Benjamin Byron Davis, Dutch himself. He was so cool. He's like, what do you want me to sign on this? And I'm like, how many people have signed I Have a Plan? He's like, man, you don't want me to sign I Have a Plan. He's like, I do that all the time. I'm going to give you something special. He wrote one of the coolest quotes from the end of the first game. That was super cool. That made me so excited. Like, that is, whenever I look at that poster, that quote is the quote that stands out over all of them. After I met Dutch, I went on and met Steve J. Palmer, who plays Bill Williamson. Had a long conversation with him. I mean, probably the longest conversation with him, just because he was kind of like at the end of the room. We talked for a while about not only video games, but like the actor strike going on. We talked about the potential remake, which has just came out, and it's a port for the PS4 and Switch, which some people are really upset about, but I'm kind of excited because I have a PlayStation, so that means I can now play it again. Subsequently, every actor was so awesome, so personable. I think we spent an hour and 20-something minutes in that room, which is crazy. I've never gotten that much time to spend, but that was all on the actors. They all wanted everyone to have this personal, unique experience, and they did it for everyone for hours. Like, that's how long and how dedicated they were. They also had panels they had to go to. Like, these people put in legit work, like full work days plus overtime, and it was for us, the fans. And I am so grateful for that. Afterwards, I changed out of my Red Dead shirt, put my poster away, and put on my cowboy outfit. It was time to go full outlaw in Blackwater. My beautiful wife and I walked around. We got pictures over at the Old Western Photo Outlet. We got pictures in front of the Blackwater Stagecoach and the Blackwater Bank and everything like that. We ended up back at Big Nose Kate's Saloon, dressed in our cowboy gear to get more food. We got elotes again, but this time we got their nachos, we got their onion rings. It was such a good meal. If you ever are in Tombstone, check out everything, but go to Big Nose Kate's. It's totally worth it. Now, having been a big horror fan, I watch a lot of BuzzFeed Unsolved with Ryan and Shane. And one of the things that I saw in one of their videos was them going into Big Nose Kate's Saloon and going down and seeing that hole that this old guy that worked as a janitor there dug to go get money out of the mines, or to go get gold and silver out of the mines. So there's actually a way you can do that. You can go down the spiral staircase and go see it. Seeing that was awesome. It was like, holy crap, someone took their time to put this giant hole down there. Also, it was way cooler down in that basement than it was up on the top floor, so it was a nice refresher. Big Nose Kate's had live music. It was so much fun to be a part of, and my wife and I decided that we were going to the rodeo after we were done. We left Big Nose Kate's, we walked through the town, and we made our way all the way down to the rodeo. Now here's some things about the rodeo. The first thing is they oversold it. It was jam-packed. There wasn't enough seats for people. So they were standing up along the sides, getting ready to watch the rodeo. My wife and I luckily found a seat. We got there decently early, and they kept talking about how the cast was coming, and then it kept getting pushed. But the energy at the rodeo was top-notch. Everyone was so excited. Like, this is one of the cool things about Tombstone Redemption. Everyone that's there loves being there. It was a nice mix of people, too, between the townspeople and the people that were there for the convention. There was a lot of locals and a lot of people that came from out of town. And the really cool part is the locals were so accepting. They loved the fact that we were buying Western hats. They loved the fact that we were dressing up like cowboys and going out in the middle of the street. Because it meant a few things. It meant that they were making money, which is important for the economy. It meant that the Western genre would live on. And it meant that people would probably come back to Tombstone because they had such a good time. You see, the event was so important and the rodeo was so much fun that it would leave an impact. While we sat there watching bulls buck people off, we were just getting so amped up. It was so much fun. Like, people were getting on those bulls so amped up and so excited. It got scary though. One point, one guy's leg got caught in the rope and he's getting dragged around. I didn't get video of that, but if I did, you would see how scary that shit was. The cast didn't show up by the time we left. We actually ended up leaving early because of a rainstorm. My wife was wearing white, and if you know how white and wet go, they don't go well together. You can see everything, and that show ain't free. We walked through Tombstone that night, rain coming down. Those heat lightning strikes that were going on, it reminded me of that scene of Tombstone where Wyatt Earp's walking through the streets after Bill Paxton gets shot. I'd even played parts of Red Dead in that same exact scenario where I'm walking through Blackwater while a storm's going on. I passed by the OK Corral and I was like, "Are there any ghosts here?" My wife went back to the cabin and I just enjoyed being out there. I went and looked at everything while it was completely dark, completely empty. And then people started filing in after the rodeo was finished up. But I had so much fun walking around Tombstone at night. I don't know what it is, but being in an old western ghost town at night, it's just something special. It's something that dreams are made of. I came back and I planned the next day. The next day would be our last day, but I wanted to do a few things before we left. The first thing, I wanted to get some Tombstone ice cream. The second thing, I wanted to ride the Blackwater stagecoach. I've been watching it do its pass-bys every 20 minutes or so. I mean, it even came right by the front of our cabin. I knew it was going to be hot, and I knew that we'd only have a couple hours left, but I knew that there were things that I wanted to finish up, so we went and did them. The next day, I threw back on my Arthur Morgan shirt, went back out into town, and we really just soaked up the last bit of Tombstone that we didn't get to experience on Saturday. First thing we did as we got into town was go to the Undertaker Espresso Bar. My wife got the Morgan Earp Macchiato and I got the Mango Smoothie. While we were there though, I saw a really awesome cosplay of Micah Bell. Now it's one thing to dress up as Arthur Morgan, dress up as John, dress up as the popular characters. Not a lot of Michael Bells are going around. Not a lot of people are going to dedicate their time and effort to this hated character. While I was talking to the guy dressed as Michael Bell, who I really should have gotten his name, but I was so excited just getting to see someone dressed as Micah Bell. He was really just embodying the fact that he was Micah. He pulled out some Deadeye little tokens that he made. He 3D printed them and he said, "I'm giving these out as retribution for what Micah did in the game." It was so cool. He was such a nice guy. He even did this clip.
What do you want, Black Lung?
We really enjoyed the Undertaker Espresso Bar, and as we left, we wanted to see what the line was like to get back into the Oriental. By 9 a.m. this day, compared to yesterday, was crazy. I mean, it was all the way down. It was going to be insane. We are lucky we got in when we did.
They're only letting 30 people.
We then made our way down to U Scream for ice cream, and it was time to get some Tombstone cheesecake ice cream. We enjoyed the ice cream and waited for the Blackwater stagecoach. They came around with the horses. They were watering the horses because they don't want the horses to get overheated. And then we got to hop on for this awesome stagecoach ride around Tombstone. We got so much history riding along the streets, and it was such a detailed tour. Takes you all the way down the strip, turns around, comes all the way back the other way. Takes you all the way by the courthouse where you can see the nooses and stuff from where people were hung. So many different houses and places to see. We got to pass by the mining shafts as we were on the trip. When we got back, we got out and we went and grabbed our dog. It was time to get out of the motel. Brought our dog into the town, and weirdly enough, Rob Weedoff was out there. And I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He shook my hand. He said he was happy to see me again. They were getting ready to ride the stagecoach, which is so cool to think that the cast got to ride the Blackwater stagecoach in this makeshift Blackwater. Now, I do want to say, I don't think Tombstone should have been Blackwater. I personally think that it would have been a better Armadillo or Tumbleweed, but I don't really mind. But I am excited to say that now that Tombstone has happened, it has been announced that they're going to be moving this event to other places, which is going to be super cool seeing different towns come to life. Places like Valentine, Strawberry, Annesburg, so on and so forth. And if they ever go to New Orleans, I mean, that's straight up just Saint Denis. The cast did get a picture, and that's so cool that they got a picture recreating what it was like in the game. However, I do think that Robert Bogue should have been in the picture. It should have been more of a Tombstone convention-based photo, Vice being a Vanderlingen photo. Overall, we really enjoyed our time in Tombstone, and it started winding down really quickly. It got really sad for us to leave. We looked around, saying goodbye to everything that was there, and we realized that's just the way it is. We made our way to the car, and it was time to hit the old dusty road, riding into the sunset. Tombstone was something special. It was something very important for a lot of fans. It brought a lot of us together and introduced fans to Tombstone itself and introduced Tombstone to Red Dead. See, the Western genre is so important, and to keep it alive, we have to keep showing people what it means to be Western fans, what it means to keep Tombstone going, what it means to keep Red Dead going. The fact that Red Dead just got ported, though many people are upset it didn't get remade, it's so good though to see that it's living on, to see that it's still having this impact. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, please subscribe. If you're at Tombstone Redemption or plan on going to any of the future Red Dead events, please leave a comment saying what you did or how much fun you had or when you plan on going. It will always be something special. Well, until next time, stay horrifying, my dudes.